would like to move on now, and I want to talk a little bit about Donald Trump's crazy weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yeah, that's right. Donald Trump had sort of what you would call, oh, I like the music, a circus weekend, I guess you could say. Donald Trump's off the rails, and I think he's a little desperate, ladies and gentlemen, based on the polls that are out there, unless you want to quote Rasmussen, because that's certainly a legitimate one. But anyway, let's start off with the circus that is Donald Trump. He really was off the rails this weekend, more than usual, by the way. So in Minnesota, Donald Trump decided to attack refugees and Ilhan Omar. Have a listen to this.
One of the most vital issues in this election is the subject of refugees. You know it. You know it perhaps better than almost anybody. Lots of luck. You having a good time with your refugees? That's good. We want to have Omar. Yeah, he said Omar. That's a beauty. How the hell did she win the election? How did she win?
Is this guy lost his mind? He's now going after refugees. And of course, everyone in the crowd is laughing and they think it's all good and fun. And then you bring up Omar and you boo. By the way, Minnesota has a huge Somali refugee population. They were fleeing violence. For the president of the United States to talk like that and use that kind of language, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but it's disgusting. Again, I mean, what would happen if we had a Democrat up there saying those things? It's utterly disgusting. It's gross. The man has lost his mind.
He is not lost.
Also, oh, sure. So it's okay as the president to go after refugees. Sure, I'm sure you have no problem with that. Also in Minnesota, and this is really troubling to me, because I don't care if you're a reporter for Fox News or a reporter for CNN. Many of these reporters, not all of them, but many of them are very brave with what they do. Whether you're, reporting on a war or you're in a war zone, like a protest. Some of these situations are very dangerous. I wouldn't want to do it. Some of these situations are very dangerous. I was speaking to an NPR reporter, actually, on social media the other day. And she's a very good reporter, and I have a lot of respect for her. And she was covering one of these Black Lives Matter protests in L.A., and she got roughed up, and she got hurt. And she was arrested, and she did nothing wrong. The point I'm trying to make is there are reporters all over the world, and very brave ones in this country, a lot of really good reporters that go into some very dangerous situations. It's a tough job sometimes, and I have a lot of respect for them, whether they're Fox News, whether they're CNN. I don't care what your political agenda is or what network you work for. When you're a reporter and you're covering the news and you're going into situations that are very dangerous, I have a lot of respect for you for doing that. You're very good at your job. So we have this CNN reporter, Ali Velshi. She got hit with a canister of tear gas and was injured. I like that music, by the way. Have a listen to what Donald Trump said about this reporter who was hurt, who did nothing wrong. Have a listen to this.
I remember this guy, Welchie. He got hit on the knee with a canister of tear gas, and he went down. He didn't. He was down. My knee. Nobody cared. These guys didn't care. They moved him aside. And they just walked right through. It was the most beautiful thing. No, because after we take all that crap, for weeks and weeks, they would take this crap, and then you finally see men get up there and go right through. Wasn't it really a beautiful sight?
A beautiful sight, and there are people in the audience that are laughing and cheering. How does anybody, I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not, or Republican, how does anybody justify that? This man was injured. He was hurt. He did nothing wrong. Nothing malicious. He was just reporting on some of the riots. And he was hurt. Why? Because he works for CNN? It's okay for the president of the United States to mock a reporter getting injured? JD?
Yes, Brian?
Nothing to say about this?
I want to
criticism?
talk about Andre Conley.
We're not talking about
Let's
Andre
talk about Andre Conley.
No,
the 17-year-old
we're not talking
Trump
about,
volunteer
I'm not
that
do
was
that.
literally murdered
Okay, we're not
in
going to do that.
Minneapolis.
We're not going to do that.
By
We're not
Somali
going to do that because that's
Brian.
not okay.
Let's talk about that.
If you want to do a radio show like that where we play audio, and hold on a second. If you want to do a radio show like that where we play audio, and it might be something that doesn't make the president look good, and you want to just bring up something else, then what are we doing here? What? I'm asking you specifically about this situation. Not about another subject that you want to talk about, okay? If you wanted to talk about that, we could have, in the pre-show meeting, we could have talked about that.
We would have never talked about that,
Okay,
Brian.
not true.
We would have never discussed that.
You know what? This is a conversation we could have.
We would have never
I'm being
had
honest
the
now.
opportunity to have that conversation.
And I'm being honest now. This is idiotic radio. When we play a clip and you want to bring up something else, nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'm asking you for your opinion on this specific subject and this audio that I played.
What you've done is you've taken every. By the way, Donald Trump did very well. Stop it, Sean. Come on.
What? It's funny.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, you don't have a sense of humor.
Donald Trump did very well. I mean,
play it again. Play it again.
Yeah, okay.
Play,
keep playing it.
Play the
Sean.
song again.
Yeah, keep playing it for the clown.
It's funny.
Keep playing the clown song for the clown.
Keep playing the song for the guy who doesn't have a sense of humor. All right, so let's see if we could start this again. Let's see if we could actually focus and talk about the audio which we played.
Yeah,
Hold on a second.
Let's get every negative thing that we can find about Donald Trump from this weekend.
So you don't want to respond to it. Okay,
what am I supposed to say to this, Brian?
I'm asking.
There have been reporters hurt all over the place during these riots.
What are you talking?
And this civil unrest.
Did I say that?
And these protests that turn into looting and vandalism and arson and violence against innocent people.
Okay, so let me get this right. Calm down for a second. Let me get this right. You think the reason why I played that audio is I'm claiming that he's the only reporter that was ever injured? Is that your opinion? No. The reason why I'm playing this is because the president of the United States, the leader of the free world, was mocking a reporter that was hurt at a protest. And all you have to say, without any criticism of the president, is, well, this isn't the first time somebody was hurt. This isn't the first time a reporter was hurt. Do you think it's wrong for the president of the United States to mock a reporter getting hurt at a protest? Do you think that's okay?
So what's the end game here? So I say,
I'm just asking you a question.
I say, obviously, I would, if I were the president of the United States, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do what he just did.
That's not what I asked you.
But the end game for you is me admitting that I think what he did was wrong, and then you say, well, why do you support him?
That's not what I was going to say.
Why do you support him?
That's not what I was. That's not the way I was going to respond.
Brian, do I hope that the president of the United States doesn't do things like that? Of course.
Do you think it's wrong?
Is it swaying my opinion of him in any way whatsoever?
That's not the question.
Is it preventing me from voting for him or supporting him?
So the question,
vehemently, no, it's not. So the question is, what are you trying to accomplish?
So let me respond.
You want me to say, yes, that was wrong.
Let me respond.
So once I say that was wrong, what do you say, Brian?
Let me respond. Are you willing to say that it is wrong? Not if you were the president. I wouldn't do it. Are you willing to say that it is wrong, and I'm asking you now for a fifth time to admit this, that it is wrong for any president to mock a reporter that is physically hurt and for people in the crowd to cheer and think it's funny? Are you willing? It's a very simple question. Are you willing to admit that that's wrong?
Well, I would prefer if it were not that way, Brian. I would prefer if none of that took place.
Okay, so you can't say it.
So if I say it's wrong, what do you say?
Okay, well, I want you to say it first.
What do you say?
Okay, I will say it if you say it.
This is ridiculous.
Okay,
you talk
ridiculous.
About bad radio. This is horrendous radio.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, Brian, it was wrong. What's your response?
My response is I'm glad that...
Oh, wow, great. So now Brian's endgame is JD's not crazy biased. That's it. Good job.
No, here's my response.
That was a 15-minute segment where he accomplished absolutely nothing.
That's exactly right.
So first of all, it hasn't been 15 minutes because we started this. I know you never look at your watch, but we were on the air at 10:06. Number two, my response is I'm glad you finally admitted that it was wrong, but if I can finish, please.
Several things Donald Trump has done have been wrong.
If I can talk for 4 seconds without you interrupting me, which you've done since the start of the show and for 2 years, I'd appreciate that. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm glad that you, and here's my response, by the way, because you were trying to put words in my mouth. I'm glad that you were finally willing to admit that the president was wrong for mocking a reporter for being injured. However, I find it to be utterly pathetic that I had to ask you 5 times and you had to be defensive before. Hold on a second. I'm not done yet. I find it pathetic that I had to ask you 5 times as a Trump supporter before you finally, and let me tell you something, answer the question honestly. Let me tell you something. If Barack Obama was president or a Democrat was president and a Democrat insulted somebody from Fox News, a reporter, for being hurt at a protest, and JD asked me that question, I wouldn't have a defense mechanism. I would immediately respond by saying, you know what, that was wrong, and he shouldn't have done that.
I'm just curious why this is always your angle. So I say it's wrong, and then you say what? I mean, let's say I had said it was wrong on the very first time you asked me. What would your response be?
Same thing. Only I would have said it like this. I'm glad you were admit.
Okay.
I'm glad that you could admit that.
That's amazing. So
yep.
You got me to admit that Donald Trump shouldn't have done something that he did.
Yeah, it was disgraceful.
And you think that you've accomplished something.
I didn't accomplish anything.
And you think that the audience is swayed in any type of way whatsoever based on that,
First of all, that's another idiotic thing you said.
It exposes you as someone who looks for any negative thing that Donald Trump does and then tries to pin it on me, a very clear Trump supporter. That's all it does, Brian.
So let me
it doesn't
respond.
accomplish anything.
Okay, so let me
by the way,
respond.
Barack Obama had actually, after those 4 police officers in Dallas, Texas were murdered by Micah Johnson, Barack Obama actually was not very supportive of police officers at that point.
What about
that's what you just did. You just brought up.
Let me respond.
You said if it was Barack Obama, then I would say yes, it was wrong immediately. Now it's what about us when I bring it up, Brian? How does it work?
So here's how it works.
When you do something, when I do something, they're totally different.
Okay, let me know when you're done with your diatribe.
They're the exact same, Brian. There's
let
no
me know when
difference
you're
whatsoever.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm totally done.
Let me know when you're done with your white anger. Okay.
White anger?
Yes.
Are you racist against white people?
You're a very angry white man. Yes.
Based on what?
Based on what you look like and the way you're talking on the radio.
So I'm not angry
first of all,
Brian. I'm a little animated. I'm using my diaphragm to project my voice.
Okay, so let me know when you're done.
But then I'm not angry at all. Of course I'm done.
Are you done? Okay. So you said a bunch of idiotic things, and I'll respond. I'll try to respond to a few of them because you went on another diatribe. First of all, I never try to sway anybody on this show. It's a stupid comment that you just made. People are entitled to their opinions. I don't expect to change anybody's opinions. These are my opinions. So for you to suggest that I'm trying to sway people is a very dumb statement on your part. That's number one. Number two, all I'm simply trying to say is that it's a very simple answer, and then we could have moved on. You are not willing to admit that when the President of the United States mocks a reporter for being hurt because they work for CNN, that it was wrong. So now I'd like to move on. That was completely ridiculous, but I kind of assumed. And by the way, Barack Obama never laughed at the officers in that statement that you were making. Donald Trump is laughing at a reporter for getting hurt.